I know you guys fell a little short of where you would have wanted to be last season, but what is the excitement, momentum building into this year that you really want your team to carry?
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about last year, but obviously last year was last year. We have to, this is a brand new team. This team hasn't won a game yet, and so they've got to find a way to build their own legacy. And so really our goal and motivation is what is their story going to be this year, right? What is their legacy? What does their mountain look like that they're going to climb?
What are some of the things you've seen through the spring and into the summer that have kind of helped to shape that story that you hope to see in the fall?
Well, I mean, we graduated a lot of kids last year, right? 37 seniors, and so it's been neat to see just some of the young kids step up and take on leadership roles, but it's also been neat to see those kids who were juniors who played a lot last year start to take that role on as leaders and lead our team and lead by example and kind of get us in the right direction.
Who are some of the guys you've seen that have stepped up the most going into the year?
Well, I mean, you have your obvious guys, right? That played it quite a bit. And you got Tate, which is is a phenomenal person, as much as an athlete as well. But you got Derek Warden, who played both ways for us on the O line and the D line last year. He's really taken a leadership role on. R.J. Jackson, who was our middle linebacker, or was a linebacker for us last year, has really kind of taken that leadership role on there. But we have David Rawson, who's a running back who played quite a bit for us last year, that's really starting to take those things. So, and then we have some young kids that they're going to have to grow up quick. I mean, being that we graduated so many kids, we'll play some sophomores this year. But they're, we have, the Wyatt Plody, who will play some offensive line for us. Isaiah Fournier, who's he's going to be a senior. Really impressed with him, just staying in the program, and not leaving and going and waiting his turn. And it was crazy. We have a backup quarterback who I think is the best 2028 quarterback in the country. In Arizona for sure. Doesn't get a lot of press right now because unfortunately he's got Tate in front of him. But one of the things with Sawyer Hills that I've been super impressed with is that he stayed at Queen Creek, right? Like in a world we live in now, he could really go anywhere and play and be a guy. And he'll get his turn, but he's a special talent too.
I talked to Sawyer, and he kind of had the mentality. He's like, oh, I'm going to beat Tate out for the job.
Yeah.
How important is it that he has a mentor like Tate and a guy that he can learn from and grow and be able to be that next man?
Yeah, I think first of all he's learned to kind of carry himself with an attitude of I belong and have that confidence swagger about him from Tate, right? Like not a cockiness, but floats that line, right, of cocky and confidence. And so but I just think that the way he's learned and the way he soaks everything up from him and Coach Molander, with Tate and Coach Molander, that doesn't happen very often in this world we live in, right? Like from college down right now, if kids aren't getting to play, they leave. And I don't think anyone else would blame Sawyer if he decided to go somewhere to have the opportunity to play and to start. But he sees the value in being with Tate and with Coach Molander and being with those teammates, and he's the ultimate teammate. Like that's one thing is Tate makes a great play, he's the first one out there, and vice versa. So he's just a special kid.
We'll talk about a guy like Dron Lyles, who kind of played a little bit of both ways this season, got some recruitment going to New Mexico now. What are you excited for him this year, and is he going to play a good amount of both ways again this season?
Yeah, he'll be a guy who we'll try to keep on the field as much as we can. Dron is a special talent. Like he's our best athlete, and I would bet that he's the best athlete on the field whenever we play a team. So when you have a kid like that, you have to use his talents. You have to use his ability, and so he'll play wide receiver. We'll move him around on defense. He's getting recruited for defense, so that'll be his main. So he'll probably get his blows on the offensive side, but if the game's on the line, Dron Lyles is going to be on the field because he's just he's that special of a talent, and truth of the matter is he's one of the best kids to be around. Like he's not a raw kid. He's not, but man, he's a kid that you love and brings great energy to the practice.
What do you think is the identity of this Queen Creek team this season?
Yeah, I don't think we know yet. I don't know that we know yet. I've told someone the other day, if we had to go play a game in shorts and t-shirts, I know exactly who we are. But we at Queen Creek always want to play a physical type of football, right? We always want to play a physical brand of football. And so we hope, and we see some of those things like in spring. We've had to tell our guys to back down a little bit because they're getting, when we go 11 on 11, they're getting after each other and they're trying to to be punishers. And so, but we got to get our pads on. We got to get our helmet and shoulder pads on, and kind of see where we're at. And but I think we'll be a typical Queen Creek, just hard nosed. 11 guys just working their tail off to do it right and set goals.
What do you want to see the most from your team when they throw on the pads for the first time on Monday?
I just want to see them compete. I want to see them compete, right? Like, if you can't teach effort, and so I don't think we'll have a problem with that. Like, our kids are excited to get to that point, right? And so we'll probably have to pull the reins back because they'll want to be going full go. But when your leaders are your best workers and your hardest workers, those are good things, right? And the 6 guys that we brought here today are the leaders right now, and it's pretty neat to see them lead.
Do you guys, I know a lot of teams do captains differently. Do you have your players vote for your captains? Do you choose the captains? How do you guys decide?
Yeah, we do not. We do a captains each week, and so every Monday we will let the players vote on the captains. But we have, we kind of ended our summer ball on Thursday night, and we did something kind of unique and for the first time, and it was awesome to watch. But we picked the 6 guys that are here, and we told them Wednesday night. I told the whole team, look, we preach that this is the seniors team, right? We're only going to go as far as you're going to take us. So us coaches, we sat up in the stands, and those kids they created the whole practice plan, and they ran practice, and they did everything. And so it was really neat to see their involvement and to see how those young kids accepted them and did those things. And so it was really good for us from a coaching staff to see that we have those guys that are supposed to be our leaders are really our leaders.
Have you ever seen a team willingly do that, or players willingly just decide, hey, we're going to lead this practice?
Yeah, well, we didn't really give them much choice. We just told them on Wednesday after practice, we just told them, hey, look, you guys are, we talk about all the time that, we're going to go as far as you guys are going to take us, right? And we learned as coaches a long time ago, right, that they respect their peers as much as they respect coaches. And so so they went in and they set the practice plan exactly. We didn't give them any parameters. We just told them, hey, you guys do the practice plan as you wanted. And very, very neat to see, like, the attention to detail and the time that they put in, and the script that they came up with was a great script. And then it's just kind of to sit back and watch as coaches, to see and watch them coach. And RJ was kind of running the defensive side of things, and he's on the sidelines just getting after these guys, right? We gave up a long pass, and he brought them all together and talked to them how that's not acceptable and how things. And so when they can learn how to do that, because that translates to Friday nights in a game when we can't be on the field, they're able to be there to do those things. So we were really impressed with them as their leadership skills.
How do you think that can best play into the field on Friday nights?
Yeah, just having those guys on the field that understand everything and help get kids. But I think it's just as important that they can help calm kids down, especially with young kids, right? RJ, Jerron, they played a lot of football for us. Tate, Bear, they played a lot of time at Queen Creek. And so to be able to help a younger kid, maybe that's in that first big game or whatever, just, hey, it's all right, man. Like, you're going to make mistakes. Let's move on. But I just think it's a blessing to have kids like that can lead us on the field.
There's a lot of craziness nowadays in the world of high school and college and NIL and all this other noise stuff. The fact that you have a guy like Tate, who is kind of in the center of it all, lead 11 and stuff, how is he able to, talk about, calming down those younger guys, or just helping, not see obviously it's the bigger picture at the end of the day, just center them in closely. Hey, we got to focus. We got to do these things.
I think Tate cares about his teammates, right? And that's the biggest and foremost thing. One of the things I've been super impressed with Tate is how he handled the whole recruiting thing, right? A lot of kids like him, they use their talent as bargaining tools. That didn't happen with Tate, right? When Tate decided he was going to Clemson, that was it, man. Like, that was his desires and goals. And so it wasn't, he probably could have got more money. He probably could have got more things from other, but he didn't. He just stayed the course. But that's because he cares about the guys that are there, he's a great teammate, He'll be the first one. Spring football, I think Tate missed one practice, and that was because he was, and we would go at nighttime, but as soon as baseball was over, he was there because he knows he's the leader, right? And he knows if he's not there, then that's not a good example. And so for him to do those things and to lead those guys is just a special, and they believe in him, right? And that's always a great thing when you got kids who believe in your best athlete. Then good things can happen.
Do you ever have to tell him like, hey, dude, just chill out a little bit,
Yeah,
go sit down,
yeah,
take a rest?
yeah.
Or
We've had to shut him down a few times, because he doesn't. He wants to go, and we a couple times we told him, "You're not practicing today. Like you gotta stay playoff game tomorrow. I'm not gonna take a chance if something happened." But it really has nothing to do with him. It's just that he doesn't want to not be out there with his buddies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's not too much change for you guys region-wise. There was a little bit of a shakeup, but when you look at your schedule and how kind of things fall, what are you looking forward to the most, or what kind of catches your eye?
It's the 6A is in my mind, obviously you have Liberty, you have Basha that are on top of of the 6A brackets, right? Like and rightfully so, they've earned those rights. They've done the right things. They have kids that are awesome. But then that next tier, man, it's a loaded 6A, and I don't think that you can ever take a week off in 6A. Like you don't have the luxury to just go back and say, oh, we can take this week off. One of the unique things for me is when I started at Queen Creek, we were 3A, and so I've moved us from 3A to 4A to 5A to 6A. So I've kind of see all the different things, And right or wrong, when you were in 3A and 4A, you could look at your schedule and be like, okay, we can get healthy this week, right? Well, 6A, you don't ever look at your schedule and go like, we can get healthy this week, because there's just teams that they can beat you at every given. And so I think that's just credit to Arizona football, right? And that's what's so neat to see. I'm a kid who grew up in Arizona, played at Mountain View, and so I've seen and lived Arizona football my whole life, and to see the recognition and see the growth of it is just so awesome to see. And so I think that it's just, we'll have our hands full each and every week.
What is going to be the key for you guys to not fall short again this season?
I think we got to grow up, right? We got to grow up. Those young kids have to be able to contribute, right? I mean, that's the biggest thing is when you play young kids, you always worry like, will the moment be too big? Because you don't know until that first Friday night. And of course, we go to Vegas to start, not an easy game for them to get their feet wet. But, so can our young guys play and can we stay healthy? That's one of the biggest things is can we stay healthy through the year? We're not a school who's got 4,000 kids. We're 18 to 2,000 kids, and so we don't have crazy depth or crazy numbers to pull from. And a lot of our kids will play both ways, and that's fine. I mean, that's just kind of the Queen Creek way, and we're okay with that. But you lose a kid here and there, then it kind of really hurts.
One of the sort of newer things for you guys this year is playing on a turf field.
Yeah.
What excites you about that, but also maybe missing some dust bowls or some mud bowls here and there?
Well, as an O-line coach, I hate it, man. I hate it. But first and foremost, kudos and credit to our district that they went and found a way to get that done, right? Our governing board and the district leadership had to go find ways to get money. This was not a thing, and so they were able to get a grant from a water conservation grant to get that field for us. So grateful for that leadership at Queen Creek and for what they've done. Obviously, one of the greatest blessings about having the field is being able to practice on it all the time. If it rains, we can still get out there. You play in those dust bowls and things. When it rains, it's muddy, right? And it's hard, and then you worry about safety and things like that. But now with a turf field, and just having lines all the time, that you get the real feel of the practice, the game. But it's just, and I think from a safety standpoint, I think it's a safe place that we can practice, and so we're super excited. It's as bummed as I am to be able to play on grass and do things, but we were talking as staff, kind of trying to set our schedule for the season. We don't play one team on grass. Every team we play is a turf team, right? And so, because we were like, okay, what days do we got to go to the practice field? Well, we don't, right? And so, to be able to have that turf to play on and practice on is a big advantage. Like before, we didn't have that. And so, a lot of times, sometimes we'd show up to turf and our kids never played. They didn't know the feel of it, right? That, unfortunately, the scrapes and beeps of it all, right? You don't know about those things, and so now they know, and they have all those things prepared.
Is it crazy to you, sort of the different world we live in now, where maybe you played on a lot more grass fields, and now you're playing on turf every single game?
It is. It's wild. It's great. I mean, you get it. I think it's from a safety standpoint, it's nice because there's not the divots and the bumps and things like that, you know, that you always worry about with players. And but yeah, it's wild. I mean, and it's really just been the last few years. I feel like the last 4 or 5 years, it's really kind of flipped to that turf world.
Um, what kind of how is it good for your players to play an out-of-state team and kind of get that challenge early on in the season?
Well, I think first of all, it's a great opportunity to be bond and be together as a team, right? That's the biggest and most important thing is you don't get those opportunities to kind of get outside and be, you know, we go to football camp and football camp is hard work. It's not fun, right? It's a lot of work, but this is an opportunity for us to go spend a couple days and we'll do some things while we're there and just try to build some team work. But I think it's also just always neat to go represent, you know, Arizona, but more importantly, to represent Queen Creek, the town of Queen Creek. But even more important than that is to go represent our families, right? We talk about when we go to play these teams, you're representing your family and what that family looks like. And so that's really why we do it. It's just those opportunities for them to go and to, you know, and if they want to play in the college, it kind of gives them that atmosphere, that taste of travel and how neat it is to stay in a hotel and how to get those things. So we've been blessed with a great booster club that's worked super hard to get that done and to make sure that we're able to do those things.
Last thing, how much does it mean for you to have your support staff and your coordinators, and how much are they just to help in everything that you guys try to accomplish?
Yeah, I'm blessed with my staff. Like the varsity staff we have is top notch, and they're phenomenal football coaches, but they're even better men. Like, and to me, that's what I'm looking for as a head coach is guys that, you know, typically if I'm meeting with you, I know that you know football, right? But I'm going to meet with you to see what kind of guy you are, what kind of dude you are, like, or you know, what I want my kid playing for you, you know, those kind of things. And these guys all check that box, right? They're passionate about what they do. They love the kids, and they love being at Queen Creek. And you know, and we've had, you know, Coach Pace has been with me since I took over in 13, right? And one way or the other. Coach Zimmerman, a guy I coached with at Mountain View back in the day. Coach Kilinowski, who's our special teams coordinator, was actually my special teams coordinator at Scottsdale Community College when I played. And then, you know, we have Coach Molander, so his son Miles is now coaching our wide receivers, and he played for me at Queen Creek. And then we have a Kyle Sawyer, who is an O-line kid who helps us with the O-line. Reagan Terry, who played at Arizona and Boston College from Florence, is helping us coach this year. And then you got Cruz Mingus that he's been with us a long time. But and then Joe Jackson, who's been with me a long time. His son is RJ, and he's been coaching with us a long time. But then you have our two coordinators. You know, you have Scooter Molander, who 2 years left. You know, Desert Vista, called a shot in the dark to see if he'd be interested, and he lives right down the road. And how grateful I am that he decided to step down being a head coach to come be a coordinator and be with us. You know, the first year he was our quarterback coach and special teams. He didn't do the offense, and so he's a great man who holds these kids accountable, but works hard. He's in the weight room with Coach Reynolds, which is the biggest and most important part of all of Queen Creek, to be honest with you. Coach Reynolds built Queen Creek. Like, without Coach Reynolds in that weight room and what he's done, is we wouldn't be where we're at, and we are so blessed to have him. But and then the last guy is Coach Howard, who is our defense coordinator this year. And Coach Howard was the head coach of Florence and for a long time, and he had applied for the job when Joe had left and I took back over. And then some people said, hey, you should talk to this guy. So I sat and met with him for about 2 hours one night, and he decided to leave Florence as the head coach and come over and be with us. And he has two boys. He has two boys that are really going to be special players for us. But he is a God-fearing man who loves Queen Creek and loves the kids and loves everything about it. And I've been just so lucky to have his friendship and what he does. But having those two guys that have been head coaches is so nice for me, because if I get tied up with all the stuff that is non-football stuff as a head coach, I don't have to worry about it, right? Those guys can run practice and do things, and so we're lucky to have all those guys.
Perfect.